Hey folks, welcome back to Nicky T Live. I'm your host Nick Taylor, and today I am hanging out with Scott Steinlage. Scott, how you doing today?
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome.
I thought you were gonna say JavaScript Jam with that.
Welcome to Nikki T Live
Yeah,
online and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. I should get you to do my sound bites or
Your
intro.
intros. Yeah, just do some little ones that you can add in the mix too. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like for those who know 1980s wrestling, like Macho Man Savage or something. Ooh, yeah, we're gonna talk about.
Welcome to the Nikki T Online. Let's get hot and heavy, y'all. Woo!
Woo,
Okay.
yeah.
Woo.
Off the top rope, off the top rope.
Off the top rope. He's on. He's down. Oh my gosh. All right. Yeah, he's taking a
Awesome,
chair to
awesome.
him.
Yeah, exactly. Ladder, chair, and that reminds me. We'll start talking about stuff in a sec. But
Sure.
I went to India, yeah, for work in 2014,
Yeah.
and I got driven around just because the people that we were doing the work for, it was like a requirement. But so I'm
Mm.
just sitting in this. I didn't know it was actually a driver of mine. I thought it was just a cab I took every day, but it ended up being my personal driver. But that's
Oh.
not the story. The story is like as we're driving through, like I don't know if you ever been to India, but
No.
basically traffic is chaotic, but everybody accepts the chaos, so it works. And it's
Right.
the kind of thing. So like people are driving in different directions on the same side of the road, and as a tourist, if you were there, like if you rented a car, you would probably cause an accident because you'd be like, hey, why are they on the wrong side, and then
Yeah. You're
smash
like,
and
I'm
all
not
that
okay
stuff.
with this. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But the funny thing, I mean, I saw some funny stuff while I was riding in the back of the cab, and one of them was there was two guys on it was either a motor scooter, it was either a motorbike or a scooter, I can't remember, and they
Yeah.
had like I think it was like a 10-foot ladder, but like vertical between
Oh
them,
my gosh.
and I'm like, the only thing I thought about the whole
The
time
bridge.
on
The
that ride
bridge.
there after we passed them, I'm like, are I wonder what happened to them, like did they make it? Did like some kind of comedy
We
ensue where like they hit something and it caught a wire, or I don't know, they fell off and then they all ended up landing on the ladder and were fine, and I don't know.
they do a
It's just
loopy.
yeah, exactly.
Hanging
So
onto the ladder.
no, exactly. So I was just like, I wonder what they're up to now. Is basically what has gone through my head.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
similar story. So not quite as much like that, but um, I went to Honduras and
okay.
I was there on a humanitarian effort mission with military,
Okay.
and we were like building like some like small schools and medical facilities in these uh, small little villages. And
Okay.
anyway, so we'd have to drive from where we were to these smaller villages every day, and we'd take like a bus or whatever that we chartered. And
Okay.
so, but the roads were crazy, and they had like no laws basically too, right? and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and people were just always driving nuts, and it's very in this part of Honduras is very uh there's a lot of mountains, like
Okay.
um and so it's like steep cliffs on the edge of the road and stuff like that, like, and there's no
Yeah. Yeah.
guardrail, right? Like you're going off, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so anyway, um and there's lots of motorbikes, right? Lots of motorcycles, um
Okay.
and stuff like that, and people are constantly just flying around each other on blind spots and everything, like coming around going
Yeah.
60,
Yeah.
70 miles an hour. It's insane. It's like, whoa. Um, the traffic may not have been as bad as what you're talking about or congestion, but the
Yeah.
chaotic driving is definitely there.
Oh
And
yeah.
and it's interesting, like they talk about how like the hey, what's up, Todd? Is that
Yeah. It's est-
rock lobster Todd?
yeah. There we go. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
what's up,
just
man?
threw up a lobster for you, Todd. There.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, they don't have like insurance out there either, really, like because it's very poor, right? And so They don't have that type of stuff, I guess. And
Okay.
so what happens is when somebody gets hurt, and I've heard this from them, they told, like, I've talked to the people there. When somebody gets hit, like, say an accident happens and somebody dies, or
Yeah.
somebody just gets really injured or whatever, that family goes to the other family and they work out a deal, like, okay, you give me 2 cows, a goat, and maybe some land or something like that. Like, that's how the
Oh
deal
wow.
works.
Oh
Yeah,
no
it's
way.
very interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, like, you killed my son,
Okay.
so give me your land or something like that. It's pretty bad, but,
Yeah.
um,
No.
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. But I mean, I whether it's fair or not, I don't know. But I guess
Yeah,
there's
yeah, I don't know. Right, yeah, 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 yeah. I just found it
Josh just
interesting.
joined Josh just joined the chat, and he's like, "Yes, I just entered an
Yes,
interesting conversation."
I see
Yeah, we were
that.
just
What's
talking
up?
about traffic, Josh. And yeah, I was gonna say too. I've been to Central America several times. Like,
Yeah.
been to Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and like,
Mm,
uh,
very similar to Honduras.
and Panama, and
Yeah,
it's the same thing. Like, when you're going on as soon as you basically get out of a city, and
yeah,
like you're saying, you're on the roads, and yeah, there's no guardrails, but not only that, like there's no stoplights, no stop signs. So basically, whenever you hit any kind of turns, you're always honking to let
yeah,
people know, like, hey, I'm here, you know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just kind of interesting, but
Oh,
it's getting back to what I was saying about, like, when I was in India and
yep,
everybody embraced the chaos and it just worked. It's as soon
yeah.
as somebody doesn't embrace the chaos that I think an accident happens. So
Central America is it
anyways,
Kansas?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Click
Yeah,
your heels, maybe.
yeah, Central America, Kansas. It's right beside London, Ontario, and Canada. They're Todd, which is near. Which ironically, there is a Paris, Ontario, in Canada too. Which is,
Is there?
anyways. I don't know what's up with all that, but anyways,
Yeah,
and
we have. Yeah, that's interesting. Gotcha.
yeah,
Yes, yes, sir.
yeah,
Are you in? I think Todd's in Atlanta right now doing some sort of event. I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What
Yeah.
are you there for, Todd? Is that Connect JS? I can't remember.
Oh,
There's
that's
like a
what it
bunch
was.
of.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah. I'm
that's
pretty
it.
sure. And then he
Yeah.
was at Magnolia before that. So
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Connect
he
Tech.
is. Yeah, he's saying connected. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, cool man.
Todd's got a great talk about deceptive patterns.
Yeah,
Had him on the stream. Well, had I think Todd, aside from Becca, Todd might be the person that's been on my stream the most. He's actually going to be on
really.
next week. So,
Oh, sweet. And we
um,
had him on last week. So wasn't it last week
yeah,
or
yeah,
2 weeks
yeah,
ago?
yeah.
Yeah,
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 exactly. But yeah, no, we're gonna be chatting with Todd next week. We're gonna kind of be doing not a full audit, because like, but we're gonna be doing a kind of a mini accessibility audit of the open source app, just to. I think there's a lot of low hanging fruit to get some easy wins there and stuff. Like, I've been fixing some stuff since I started there and like creating issues where I can.
yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, I'm making you an internet star. That's right, Todd. With my massive following that you can see in Twitch. It is funny though. It's so weird. I guess this kind of ties into some of the stuff we're gonna talk about, like growth and marketing.
Yeah.
Um, that was my cool segue of doing that. But
Watch out,
like,
y'all.
yeah, like I find it kind of interesting because, like, when I worked at Dev2, I grew the Dev2 Twitch brand like pretty well. Like, it started off at like 700 and like something followers, and then by the time I left, it was like, I think it's like 2400, which is still not like a massive number, but it was like pretty good growth. And I think what it came down to was, I did most of it with my old coworker Christina Gordon. She left before me from Dev, so like I continued it by myself after. But I think the things were, uh, we had good chemistry, like we had fun and we enjoyed doing it, and
Yeah,
we were consistent, And
that's the key. Yeah.
I think above a lot of things, and like I'm sure you can speak to this, but I think just showing up and doing the thing all the time, that's, I think that's what makes a difference, and like compared to like my stream now, like, the, not that my lizard brain cares about how many people are following me, but in reality, I don't.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, for me, it's always been like I just want to meet people and it's just talk about interesting stuff or live code.
yeah.
But but even with my own, and what happened was basically I neglected my own brand because I was focusing on the dev to Twitch stream. So, but
I
like
feel you.
once I left there, I just started growing this one, and it's grown, but it's not like massive, obviously. But I still see growth, you know, and I think part of it is what I was saying before is I think just the consistency, and you see like there's other streamers in the chat like Josh and Todd, and they're both doing it consistently as well. And I don't know if you have some other, you know, it's kind of like a soft, you know, little softball question to you, but like in terms of like, you know, growth or like marketing, is there, because this is stuff that I'm less familiar with.
Sure.
You know, I know some things superficially, but like, I guess what kind of nuggets do you have in terms of like marketing or growing a product or a personal brand? Yeah. Because you've been doing a lot of things, like especially with like FS Jam and the JavaScript Jam and all that stuff. So
Yeah, man. So definitely, yeah, JavaScript GM. I'll say this. I'll totally agree with you when it comes down to like the consistency. That is a very important piece of this whole thing. Todd says he's not consistent by any means. Well, all right. Well, you can always
well,
change it
I
if you
keep
want
seeing you
to.
show up in my feed because he's in. I have his when he goes live on my on his Twitch stream. It shows up in my Discord, so
There you
I
go.
see you popping up at least a few times a week, Todd. So,
There you go.
anyways, sorry. Go ahead, Scott. I
No, you're
interrupted you.
good. No, you're great. Yeah, like I mean, heck, once a week. If as long as it's once a week, right? Like just do it once a week. If it's twice a week, do twice a week. Whatever it is, once a
Yeah,
month. Just being consistent, I think, is a very important piece of the pie. Obviously, having good content, like you said, you and Christina, you were like just worked well together and had a good symbiotic relationship, and were able to talk on many different points together, and people liked it, right? And so
yeah,
that's why they followed through and continue to watch and engage and be take part in it. And obviously, value. Here's the other thing too: is like everybody's like, provide value, give value, give value. Value is different for a lot of different people, right? It's like, what does value
yeah.
really mean to you, right? That could just mean listening to a great conversation between two people, right? that could
True,
mean,
true.
oh, I'm looking for a particular thing. And if you're advertising that particular thing and you don't give the value in that particular thing, then yeah, you're not giving the value that you're supposed to be giving. But if you're
Yeah,
not like advertising something that someone's going to be searching for, example, how to X, right? Like just whatever that could be.
yeah, yeah,
And then someone comes in and they feel like they just were like sold on something instead of like given value, and that might
yeah,
be,
yeah,
a little questionable. But yeah, there's that. There's being authentic, right? Um, and I think that's a very
yeah,
important piece of it too, which I think you do quite well. And a lot of people out there do. But yeah, just like being authentic and true, and
yeah,
because people, here's the thing, like people have like this sixth sense, right? Like you can
yeah, yeah,
tell for the most part, when someone is like just being authentic or not.
yeah,
And so it's very important to be that. Um, and yeah, just continue to roll with it. And that's the other thing too, is like being yourself, right? Like you are yourself for a reason. And you know, you're gonna here's the other thing too, like with that, like you're gonna be people are gonna really either really like you, and then there's gonna be some people that don't like you, and that's okay, right? Like, like
yeah, yeah,
that's the
yeah,
other thing we have to be okay with, especially like being online. Like you're gonna have haters, and you're not doing it right if you don't have haters. I'm sure you've heard that before, right? Like, um,
yeah,
and nobody wants to be like disliked, you know. Um,
yeah,
and
totally.
it's hard sometimes, if you ever get someone that like doesn't like you, and it's like, oh man, like what did I ever do, but it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah,
let them do their thing, and just don't focus on them, and focus on the people that do like you and that you're trying to help, and that want to be a part of your journey, right?
yeah.
In
No,
fact, like,
I really like that.
yeah, absolutely. And in fact, like I recently, went through like something a little bit difficult. I'm just gonna I'll put it out here on Nikki T live here. But yeah, like I was furloughed from my company here recently, up until a certain point coming up soon. But I don't know. It's supposed to be till through the end of the year, but anyway. So I was furloughed
Yeah.
recently, and which is it sucked. I mean, to be honest with you, it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's all good because I think it's going to enable me and allow me to start focusing on some things I've been wanting to really focus on, and
Yeah.
creating and doing things. But like, there's going to be people and here's the other thing, man. Like when the hard times hit, right? Because they will. Like things happen in life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
can't
hear you.
avoid
I
them.
hear
You can try your best, but things happen. And you find out really who those true people are that are willing to and wanting to help in any way they can. And I can
you.
honestly
Yeah.
say that Nick here, to everybody, Nick is definitely one of those people for me. And I think he's that way for a lot of people who he knows. He's willing to step out and help in any way he can, including, not that he's like doing me a favor per se, but we're live here on this together, right? Like, it was an opportunity for him and I to get together and hang out and talk,
Yeah.
but also is going to be beneficial, hopefully, in some way. I would imagine for him and me, right? Like that's the thing, is like we're just trying to
Yeah.
have a good time and hang out and maybe help each other in the process. But
Yeah.
and it's just cool to know that you have some people on your side, and the people that you want to keep close and help and give value back as much as you can as well too, right? So I think that's a
Yeah.
big piece of it, is building these relationships with people, right? Like that's a huge part of this online
Yeah.
scene, is building more relationships with folks, and having that authenticity, like, building friendships. And you can't make friends with everybody, but you can do your best to
Yeah.
include as many people as you can in that circle,
Yeah.
and
For
because you
sure.
only have so much time, right? But anyway, that was like a super long take, but
Well,
yeah, thank you, Nick.
yeah, yeah. No, well, thanks for the kind words, and thanks for sharing about what you're going through right now. I know it's not easy. It's I think you know to your point about like when you see who people really are, it's true. It's like everybody can be like, yeah, buddy, like when everything's like going smoothly.
Totally.
But as soon as the shit hits the fan, whatever that is, that's when it's like, oh, hey, Graham, thanks for the raid, man. So I just got to
Yeah.
give a shout out to Graham. If
Whoop,
folks aren't
whoop.
following Graham yet, go give Graham a follow on Twitch. I was catching his stream before. I had to take a lunch break before this, but he had a really great stream. He was building out an accessible to-do list, and
Nice.
it was like just really well done. And he was just making a point about building out accessible things. It's not like a quick job,
Yeah.
and he was saying not that like a to-do list is probably trivial at this point in terms of like the logic because so many people have done it, but he was just kind of going through like all the things to make it accessible. And I totally agree, it takes time because yeah, I know we're going on a bit of tangent here, but like there's always that. It's not a meme, but like when people just basically say front end is easy. Front end is easy if you're like making a page that isn't a digital experience. Like it's easy if you're just saying like I put like hello world, I put an alert or something. But when you got to build something that it's got to work on all kinds of devices, it's got to be accessible, and it's got to look good. Like and I'm not saying that back end is easy. That's not what I'm saying either. Right? But it's just annoying when people kind of basically just discard the expertise of something. So anyways,
Yeah.
just a little side note. But
That's really good.
but
Yeah.
there was
I'd like
something.
to see
Yeah,
that list eventually.
yeah, there was something I was gonna say to. Oh yeah, is getting back to being genuine. Like
Yeah.
I totally feel that. Like I mean, I definitely like the way I act on stream is the way I act at work. It's the way I act in life, basically.
That's true. I have met you in
Like
real life a couple times.
like like I don't know. I basically joke around all the time, but when serious work needs to get done, I get it done. But to your point about like staying genuine, I think that's where I feel like as a I haven't experienced this yet, but like I feel like maybe content creators kind of feel this at some point because like right now, like my full-time job is engineering work. Like I'm a product engineer. I'm building out stuff at open source, and I
Right.
stream as well. So I don't depend on my stream or any other kind of content I do as like my source of revenue. So I never have to, at least right now, never have to worry like, okay, well, this video only got like, I don't know, 10 views or something, and
Right.
I needed to hit whatever. And I wonder if there's a tipping point for some content creators sometimes where it's like they have to lean into making the content versus being genuine about it. I don't know if that makes sense or not. I
Yeah.
just feel like, cause getting back to your like sixth sense and stuff, you can definitely tell when some people aren't being genuine for sure, or it's
They have
like
an
what
agenda.
yeah, so it's I'm not saying it's easy, but like when it's like where you make your bread and butter,
Yeah.
I guess there's a, I don't know. Okay, yeah, Josh is okay, so I guess I'm not off, Josh. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Josh is saying that in the chat. Yeah,
Top of mind.
and it's and like Josh is
Prioritize for
100%.
impact, not clout. That's good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I feel like it's got to be tough because like Josh, who I haven't met in person yet, but we've definitely talked quite a bit. Like he's been on my stream and stuff, and he's definitely a genuine person. But yeah, I could feel that like, okay, I got to make 10 grand this month because so like, all right, let's do a video on like cute dogs and something. I don't know. I'm making up stuff here, but like, you know, just doing stuff to get content versus
Mm.
providing value, like you're saying. Not to sound too cheesy about like
Yeah, yeah,
providing
yeah.
value, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said,
so
everybody's value is
yeah,
different.
yeah, so it's, I don't know, and I guess there's also like, because like there's obviously all kinds of different content creators. There's a lot of people I think that do it really well. Like my old coworker Jason Lengstorf is top tier when it comes to this stuff. That's somebody who I kind of took inspiration from when I first started streaming. But then there's like, I think like if you go like TikTok influencers or like I almost feel like this is just me pretending, but I feel like if I ended up like say I became a TikTok influencer, hey, what's going
Yeah.
on, Anthony?
What up?
I feel like I would kind of embrace being kind of cringe or cheesy, and that would come out as genuine because people know I'm being cringe on purpose. Maybe
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, totally.
Because that, so then you're kind of like battling it in a good way. Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
Absolutely. There's Josh and I right there at
Yeah,
React
yeah.
Miami, actually. Yeah, that was
Nice,
cool.
nice. Yeah, I gotta
Yeah,
send my CFP in still. I definitely want to get to that next year.
yeah,
It's yeah,
yeah. And
yeah,
here he is
but
in the what was it, the Flamingo, I think? Working there.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was part of someone's talk. I'm trying to remember who it was now, but anyway, she had a bunch of people
Flamingo
dressed up.
JS or something,
Like
or
no, like she had a bunch of people dressed up in
that's
these
awesome.
yeah, like blow up things. So yeah, like here's the whole
Okay, okay,
squad. But let's see. There we go. Yeah, it's
yeah,
there we go. Anyway, good times.
yeah, yeah.
Fresh. Yeah. Don't tell anyone. Oh yeah, Kathleen. Oh, cool. So exciting.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, that's who that was. Kathleen. I couldn't remember. We
Oh,
actually had
okay,
her
okay.
on. We had her on that DevRel and JavaScript Jam and me and Anthony. We did this.
Yeah.
We did this like what was it, the live game show or whatever for like,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, prior to that anyway. And Josh, I think Josh was on there, and Kathleen was on there, and I think Will Johnson, anyway. But yeah, that was cool. So I remember that Kathleen now. Yeah,
Okay, cool,
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's great when you can do something like that in a talk, or like not take yourself too seriously, like obviously there's you know, like I probably wouldn't get dressed up as a T-Rex if I was giving a talk about death, maybe, you know, but like, you know, like unless it was related to T-Rexes dying in a tar pit, maybe, um, yeah, but you know, yeah, read the room, I guess, um, but no, I like that people have fun with those kinds of things. Like, I wasn't there, but like at Magnolia GS last week,
Yeah.
Todd was
Todd was a
dressed up as a large
lobster.
lobster.
Yeah.
Um, my friend Mark Noonan, who I met at Render ATL last year for the first, or this year, sorry, for the first time, he did a talk on testing. And he had a few people play characters. It was like sea monsters, and I don't, you know, it sounds silly, but it was just a fun thing, and it still, you know, gets the point across. And I like when people do stuff like that because it's creative, you know, and it kind of engages you more, I think. Like and this ties into so many things, like because we're just going to go on all tangents today, but like I say this, like when people are like applying for jobs or like when they interview, and I've said this many times too, because not that I'm like some like, you know, Danny Thompson help you get the job kind of person, but like I speak to a lot of and Danny's awesome, by the way, that's not trashing
Totally.
Danny,
Right.
but like I've spoken to a lot of early career devs just because I do coffee chats and stuff, and a
Yeah.
lot of people transitioning careers, and like obviously you can't talk about your previous career all the time and fit it into everything related to, like, you know, programming or whatever you want to go to into tech, but I still think it's good to talk about those things because there are definitely transferable skills, but also I think it helps you stand out. And like there's like a few examples that come to my mind. So Jessica Wilkins, who's a friend of mine, she was working at this dot labs up until recently. She's working at Free Code Camp now,
Oh, okay.
and she is a professional oboist. She's played in
Oh, wow.
orchestras. She used to have a sheet music company. She literally played for the NFL in the orchestra for the Super Bowl. Like
Oh,
that's
cool.
not, you know, nothing to do with programming, but that's, you know, if you were if I was in an interview with her and she said, "Oh, I'm a professional oboist and I, you know, I recently was part of the orchestra for last year's Super Bowl," regardless of how the interview goes, I'm going to remember that's like that's oboe jess, or like I'll have some kind of name it in my
Yeah.
head because like I'm not gonna forget that, you know what I mean, versus
Yeah, totally.
if you speak to like, you know, 20-30 more people, and all of a sudden it's like not that those people aren't great, but like if they don't have anything to like kind of stand out, I think that's where people miss out. And like other examples I can think of, these are all people I met through virtual coffee, by the way, but Steve Carroll, who's working in tech now, is a professional opera singer.
Oh,
And you know,
right.
I was like, hell yeah, talk about being an opera singer for sure. You know, like you're not gonna forget that. You know, and again, regardless of how the interview goes. But the other thing too is like a lot of these things translate. You know, like if you can read music is like that's not an easy task. Like
No, yeah.
I've played something a little more not necessarily obscure, but I used to be in a handbell choir, and so you're ringing all these bells, you're reading sheet music, you're following the director. There's a lot of things going on, you know, and like I you know, and music, a lot
Close
of
the
people
door.
that are yeah, it's all good, it's all good, don't worry.
No,
If they want to
sorry.
be interviewed, just let me know. Um,
Yeah, no
I
worries.
will just say, never, don't worry, never apologize about the kids. If anything, we could do a funny thing like who is that British newscaster where he's just being all serious and then his kid slides in, and then the mom kind of
Yeah.
like swoops in, and we could do one of those if you want. So yeah,
Yeah.
Josh is saying, why did you send them away? We need to interview them. So yes,
He's like throwing stuff in
yeah.
the room here. He's like, oh
Okay,
boy.
well, we got to ask the hard questions, you know, like
Yeah.
plain Cheerios, multigrain, honey nut, you know, like, um,
Yeah. I told him I was gonna be live today. I'm like, don't come in. He's like, okay, yeah. Let me throw
yeah,
stuff in
yeah.
there.
Oh, Josh, team honey nut. I grew up with honey nut Cheerios too. I had plain Cheerios too, but I don't know about your family, Scott, but like I wasn't really allowed sugar cereals. Like Honey Nut Cheerios was like sugar cereal for me.
Yeah.
So, but then I'd go to like relatives, and it's like they had all the like
All the
terrible,
bads.
yeah, like Frankenberries, Count Chocula,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and and just because we're on another tangent here, like Cookie Crisp, how can that be sold as a cereal for real? It's literally a box of cookies, and they just call it Cookie Crisp, and it's a cereal. So, oh, we just pour milk on it, so it's technically a cereal, I guess. So I mean, as a kid,
Yeah,
it's like that's amazing, but it's still like, what's up with that?
totally, totally.
Anyways,
One thing I just realized, I think, so do I sound different now?
yeah, you sound a lot better. You didn't sound terrible before, but this sounds amazing now.
This is hilarious because for some reason I didn't realize that my mic was going to my computer this whole time. So when I hit mute on the board over here, it did nothing.
Okay.
And so when I was gonna be like, "Hey, close the door," I thought I hit mute on my board and it did nothing. So
Gotcha.
anyway,
All good, all good.
that's
But
funny.
that's another funny thing to talk about, because like we're talking about content creation, and like I met you for the first time at Remix Conf this year, and
Yeah.
like you've got like serious gear for like podcasting and stuff. Like I don't know what the equipment is, but it's like professional grade. Like we could go on tour kind of professional, and I think I think people are always curious about people's setups and stuff, because like when I first started streaming, like when I was at Dev 2, well, even before that, I was streaming on my own. I had my regular webcam, I had my Mac microphone. Like I didn't
Yeah.
even have a microphone. Like now I have, it's a not too bad one. I have like a Blue Yeti here,
Yeah, totally.
but
I got one over there. Yep.
but um but when I first started off, I didn't have anything automated. I never understood how people were able to pull in guests into streams. Like Twitch has something now called I think it's called Star or something, but so you can bring in somebody, and like
Mm.
obviously if you're doing something like StreamYard or
Yeah,
similar software,
they have that
that you
ability.
can do it automatically. But
Yeah.
the thing, I think I went down this rabbit hole because like when I first saw Jason Lengsdorf stream, he had his all customized, so he was in OBS. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just build something out basic in OBS to get started.
Yeah.
And I still couldn't figure out like how are they pulling in people, and it's all just like web development. It's all smoke and mirrors,
Yeah.
and yeah, guest star, that's what it's called. Thanks, Graham. And when I first started, because I couldn't figure out how to do that, and this is before the guest star feature of Twitch existed. When I was doing the Dev 2 stream, or even when I had a guest prior to the Dev 2 stream, I literally pulled in the full screen of Discord and I streamed that, and it was like awkward, but it worked,
That's awesome. Hey,
like
yeah.
yeah,
No,
and it
that's the thing, man.
yeah.
Like, no, like just take the action, right? Like a
Yeah.
lot of people like who want to start creating content and getting into it, they let like this almost like paralysis analysis, but it's like you're getting paralyzed because you're looking into all the different
Yeah.
software, the hardware, the cameras, the microphones, the
Yeah.
headphones, the computer, the blah 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 blah. The list goes on and on and on. And really, if you're just doing that, you're just gonna stop yourself
Oh yeah,
from
totally.
creating. And so um, you you can't let that hold you back. And so I love that you just like took the action and said, I don't know exactly how this works, but I'm going to try and
Yeah.
just do this and do this and do this. And you did it, and you created content, and you got out there, and you put your name out there, and you started making something for yourself, right? And over time,
Yeah.
you get better and better. And not just that, so this is what it's all about. It's about creating your voice, right? It's about
Hmm.
learning your voice. And it doesn't matter if that's on this, or if it's on your iPhone, or if it's on just a Blue Yeti mic, or whatever, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like it's been years in the making that I got this stuff, right? Like eventually I broke down and I just bought the more expensive stuff, but it was after I had already been like doing stuff for
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little while. I started off on a Blue Yeti mic too.
Yeah.
It's over there somewhere, but No, I mean, or even before that, actually, it was like just on my, what was it on? Like my earbuds, right? Actually, yeah, it
Okay.
wasn't even a Blue Yeti mic, right? It was like earbuds, right? It was
Yeah, 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 yeah.
which is fine. Like you can use that. I'm not demeaning that or saying that's bad or anything. Like that's awesome. You don't have to have all this gear, right?
Yeah,
Like
totally.
um I'm just a I just like tech, you know? And so like
Yeah.
if I can upgrade to the next thing, then I might, depending on the price. But like, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I'm just a tech snob, I guess, because I love like the next thing. This is the iPhone 15 Pro Max, right? Like, I
Yeah.
just, what did I have to upgrade to that? No, I probably could have kept my 13 that I had, right? I didn't upgrade to
Yeah.
the 14, so anyway. But I love
No,
tech,
for sure.
and sure, like some stuff does make you sound a little bit different, not necessarily better. But as you could tell, like the MacBook Pro, when I was just on the built-in mic there, it's actually supposed to be pretty good on the brand new MacBook Pro. This is 2023 Mac.
Yeah.
Um, and it wasn't bad, I guess, right? Like you guys weren't complaining. You could hear me. We're gonna have a
Oh, no, no,
conversation.
it still sounded good.
Yeah,
It wasn't that. It
exactly.
was like you turned on the professional grade one, then I was like, "Oh my
Different.
god, that sounds amazing." But it's not
Yeah.
like it sounded terrible before.
Yeah. And
Um,
the other thing is too, like I'm not like, for example, okay, a lot of podcasters or live streamers nowadays, they use like the Shure SM7B, right? Mic.
yeah, that's
That's
all
like a
I hear.
$450. Yeah. That's like a $450 mic or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And it's a great mic. Like I know several people that have it. However, this mic right here, okay, this is the Rode Pod mic, okay?
Okay.
And it's incredible. Like people, when I talk through this, people are like, they think like, "Oh, are you like on a Shure SM7B or something?" Like it doesn't look on anything like one. But I'm saying like if
Yeah.
they were just to hear the audio, they would be like, "Wow, that's pretty impressive." So
Yeah.
it's great for the price. It was only like $99, right, compared to
Oh, that's
450.
it? Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
like maybe you should, think about it. Oh, that's it.
Yeah, and
But
the price thing's definitely a blocker. Like I could definitely buy super expensive stuff, but one, I
yeah,
can't justify buying all those things. Like it'd be one thing if I had like 100,000 followers on YouTube and Twitch, and I was making like serious money where
yeah,
it was like it made sense to get it because it
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
allows you to continue. But to your point again about just starting off, like my big purchase was the Blue Yeti mic
yeah,
a few years ago.
yeah.
I still had a regular webcam. It's the 1080p Logitech. It's what I got when I worked at Dev2, and then Netlify gave
Sure.
me one as well.
Yep.
And that's what I had until I think pretty much like a year and a half ago. And then at one point I was like, this was a luxury item for me, but I said I'm gonna buy a Stream Deck, and it's 100% a total luxury item, and you do not need it to stream, and I can
But
tell
you
you
can
you
do
don't
some
need to
really cool
because
stuff with it.
yeah, so like I can press a button and you can see Jake Peralta pop up, which is all just web stuff I just did that's connected to it. But my
Yeah,
point is, like, before I had this, like I was very capable to stream all the time. It's just I had like less automation of things, but
yeah.
I used to have a checklist before I went live. I'd be like this,
Mhm.
this, this. Okay, is the I do an audio check. I okay, just basically a ton of things. And now over time, because the other thing too was getting back to your point about just putting out content.
Yeah,
When I was working at Dev2, I suggested that we start streaming for Hacktoberfest to just get people involved with contributing to the code base.
yeah.
It's very possible you're going to get a lobster on your forehead in a second, just so you know.
I see it moving.
Um,
There it
um,
is.
but like they said, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, you can, like, you and Christina can do this. And then once Hacktoberfest was over, like I was really enjoying doing it. I said, like, can we still do this? And they said you can, and they just said don't put a lot of time into it. And that's another reason why, like, I didn't invest a lot of time in automating things and so on.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm gonna save your forehead. Hold on a sec here. Let's do a Todd up.
Todd, quit attacking me.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, um, but but yeah, my point was like they said like I basically it was never officially part of my role to stream, but
Yeah.
I basically inadvertently got paid to stream. But the deal was do not spend a lot of time on it. Like find guests if you want to, but like do not spend hours and hours like getting everything set up. I spoke to our designer to just, can I have some assets like a starting screen, splash screen, a couple icons, and that was about it. And you know, it was only after a while on my own time that I started automating stuff like the silly lobster you see moving around. I was just like, I'm just gonna have some fun with some things, and like I can. It's a for folks that don't know, it's an alpaca. Yeah, okay, we're eating lobster live on the stream here. But it's like basically I just had fun with things. So like I can press a button and I can hide my alpaca, and then it changes hats. Like, and I put silly stuff on the head sometimes. Like that was a croissant, but now he might come up with. Okay, he's drinking now. But hey, Taos, how you doing?
What's up,
oh yeah,
y'all?
yeah, Taos. Tony, who's Taos Dev, is asking, what's the one thing you could not do without for streaming? I think now that I have one, I would say stream. Yeah. Aside from the computer,
maybe. I mean,
yeah. No, I think one thing that I've actually seen to be super helpful, it really is the Stream Deck, because just to give some context, when I used to do this, so like for folks that I can show you OBS here. I'll share my screen for a second. We're gonna get a bit of Inception, but that's okay. So if folks look at my screen, you're gonna see here, like if I change scene, so like we're in pairing mode, if I come back to the guest mode and so on.
Stream Deck.
Yeah, it's Stream Deck, but it's not just changing the scenes. Like I can click in OBS, like I can literally just change the scenes over here.
Right.
But the problem is I have audio linked to it. So like when I switch, you know, I make sure there's like audio's always on in case something happens. I have closed captioning that comes in, and that's feeding in audio too that you don't hear, but like that's down here. So there's like all these things interconnected. And like when I start the stream, it changes my title on Twitter saying Nicky T's live, starts the stream, sets up the audio to muted because I have a splash screen. So there's stuff like that, which I could literally do by myself before, but it was just very manual and tedious. And like, if you look at like some of my original streams, you'll definitely see stuff that it's like, oops, oh yeah, sorry, yeah, the audio is still on or whatever, you know. And so there's that kind of stuff. But you know, so nowadays I would say like that's what I probably can't really live without. But okay, I'm gonna throw in a poop in there too.
Now that you've had it,
yeah.
Now that it's
yeah, it's pretty indispensable for me now. But I will, again, just back to your point about creating content. It's not a necessity. It's something that I could afford. That eventually, after I started doing a lot of it, I was like, you know what? Sometimes you got to treat yourself. So I did, you know.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, those WHXM3s or 1000XM3s there, those were a nice penny when they first came out. I got them when they first came out. Those things were awesome, though. Oh my gosh, noise canceling on those is phenomenal.
I wear them on airplanes, and I hear nothing.
And you can't even hear the airplane noise, like like it just cancels it out. It's the best thing ever. Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
And these were this wasn't for streaming. This was like, so when I started working at Dev2, I don't mean to turn this into a Dev2 stream today, but when I got hired there, I'm in Canada, I'm in Montreal, and the company's US based. We weren't a large team at the time when I joined, so it wasn't like at Netlify where like we had a certain amount of people in Canada so they could create an entity, and then I was able to become an employee. So for Dev, it was more you have to be a contractor. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a contractor. I'm gonna buy a top of the line machine within my budget. So, you know, which which sucks now when I bought it, but I got like the 16-inch
10 terabytes.
No, I got the 16-inch Mac, but when it was still Intel, it was the top of the line one, and then like 6 or 7 months later, the M1 came out, and I was like,
but you spent like $7,000.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But I slowly built up buying these things. Like I bought the headphones like 3 or 4 months after working at Dev. They were on like a Black Friday sale, I think.
Dude, I got a hell of a deal on the ones I got.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like,
I'm a
definitely
deal
look
finder.
out for deals.
I love deals. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I have a standing desk and it's automated, and I literally paid $27 for it. And
what?
Because
that's insane.
I used to work at Autodesk,
Does it work well?
which is it works super well. It's a Canadian brand. It's called Motion Gray. They're based out of Vancouver. But when I was working at Autodesk prior to Dev 2, when you did good work, they would give you they were called applause points. It's some kind of program that's in larger companies. Like it's not just at Autodesk, but I had like $500 in Best Buy gift cards. So
nice.
and the thing was like almost half price. It was like, I think it was like $427 or $527.
Yeah.
I used the gift cards, and basically I paid like $27, Nice. I mean, it was still, but, and then there's others like just getting back to like finding good stuff.
Yeah.
I have a really good chair, and this is not a like me bragging about myself. We're talking about deals here. So I have a Herman Miller Aeron chair, which are super expensive.
Herman Miller is known to be super expensive. Yes.
Yeah, like I think brand new, this chair, like in Canada at least, I think it's about like no more than that. It's like $1,500 or something, which is something I would never pay for a chair. I looked on Kijiji, which is kind of like Canadian Craigslist, and I found a refurbished one for $300 from a certified
nice
Herman Miller guy. So and I just took my time. I had a okay chair before, but like I was intentionally buying these better things because like I was like full time at home now. I'm like, I need to have a proper setup, So, but yeah, refurbs like Todd's saying are great. Like even like refurbished hardware, like for if you're looking for a refurbished Mac, like I've bought one off the Mac refurbished
site.
Mm-hmm. And it's good too because one, it's cheaper, but also a lot of times, I think almost all the time, you can get the not iCare, what's it called, the Apple Care.
Apple Care.
Yeah, so you can buy that with it too. So and but just slowly buying these things, because like altogether it's like super expensive, but like I kind of, in the back of my head, like over the course of a year, I like slowly started buying things because I was working partially remote when I was at Autodesk, but once I went to Dev, I was like full time because they literally have no office, and it's in the States anyways. So
right. No, that's cool. That's super cool.
I'm just doing a quick check in the chat, and all I see is Todd Libby, blackmarketbodyparts.com. So I missed something there.
Now if I can get some refurbished knees and ankles, I'll be set. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, hey, what's up, Ryan? Good to see you, man. Yeah. Okay. We went on a really big tangent there, but the other thing I'll say too, you were talking about decision paralysis in terms of like, we were talking more in the context of like podcasting or content or streaming. Sure. But it's the same thing, and it's kind of a joke with programmers, like, oh, I'm gonna start blogging, but let me spend 2 months building out my blog first.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Same kind of thing, 100%. Like. So I think we could definitely come back to this tangent, but I'd say the TLDR is just start doing something, whatever it is.
Yeah. And I think that's the same thing with even learning to develop. So if you're watching this and you're learning to develop, I mean, just get started. And consistency, right? Those two things that we just talked about, like consistency and then getting started on something, like I think that's true for everything you do in life. You have consistency with it, and just get going. Take action. Just take massive action, and perfection is the enemy of what is it? I can't remember the term, but anyway, or the saying. But yeah, don't let perfectionism get in the way. Just take the massive action, and it'll be good. But yeah,
I hear you. Perfect never ships.
Yeah, no, exactly. So speaking of that, you know, now that I got a little more time on my hands, like we talked about earlier, you know, I'm gonna start creating some content, and not just like I'm not just gonna be like streaming and stuff. I think I'm gonna go at it from a different angle than most people maybe have the time to do. And so I'm going to, and I'm gonna bring in more personal touch to things, bring in more personal side of like things that I enjoy doing and stuff like that. And create like you know, a more what do you call it? More, I don't know, just like more cinematic uh process. So yeah, I don't know, just something that's going to be very unique, I guess, for at least the tech world. You probably don't see a lot of this. Like, imagine like some of those vloggers that are really good, like that are amazing with creating like video content. And I mean like, you probably know this guy, maybe, I don't know. He's a YouTuber and he's in Canada, so but Peter McKinnon.
Oh, I must know him. Yeah, Peter from Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, Peter McKinnon, of course. Come on, Canada's so small. I think he's in Toronto though, which is not too far.
I'm gonna look him up though, because I'm curious.
You should.
I do know some other Canadian YouTubers, but I've never heard of Peter. I'm gonna look him up.
Peter McKinnon.
I'll drop it in the chat.
Do it. Yeah, McKinnon. He is an amazing creator. Dude just crushes it with. He loves photography too, and in fact, he's actually been doing a lot of 35mm stuff.
Is it this site? I just dropped it in the chat.
I'm probably, I mean, and he
has
looks
like, really nice.
Have you heard of Nomadic backpacks?
Yeah.
Okay, he created custom backpacks with them and has his own brand with them too. Yeah.
Okay.
And like camera bags and things like that. But he's flipping amazing when it comes to creating content. So if you ever want to like learn some cool tricks and stuff too, go watch his old stuff where he used to do like tutorials on Adobe and things like that. And he doesn't really do that too much anymore. He just kind of creates content. He's done like stuff for huge brands like Mercedes and blah blah blah, you know, like all these different companies. So really, really cool. But anyway, he actually what's the lake like it's in Alberta, I think.
Lake Louise?
Yes,
it's the one that looks like
that's one of them.
Clean.
Yeah, that's one of them, and it's got like the mountains in the backdrop. But there's Louise, and then there's another one that's like right there. I can't think of what it's called. It starts with a C, maybe.
Okay. It's escaping me, but there's beautiful lakes there.
Yeah, and he took this like he created a video on this process, but he went and took this amazing picture, like once in a lifetime picture of like the fog wasn't there, like the sun was coming in, like all this stuff was happening perfect. And he took the shot, right? He called it like the bucket shot is the name of the video, I think. And you should check it out if you haven't. And Canada took that picture and put it on a coin.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, man. And they minted it.
That's pretty wild.
It's
I wonder if that's on a Toonie or a Looney. It must be.
I don't know, but they minted it, and it's super cool looking. So, but yeah, I'm just saying, like, he's very talented. So
that's pretty cool when a nation decides to put your artwork on a coin. So,
dude, yeah,
that's something you definitely mention when you go to the job interview. You know, I guess I'm okay.
Professional,
yeah, exactly.
A photograph of mine is minted on a nation's coin.
Yeah, no biggie.
No biggie. What's up, Bumpy Lumps? Yo, what's happening? Poop right.
Hey, Alex, how you doing, man? I'm good now. It's so funny when some people started joining my stream initially, I never knew what their real names were. Like some of them I actually knew in like from other places, but I didn't know their handles on here, and so it's like I've slowly, a lot of them I've figured out. So and then my coworker John Codes is in the chat too now. So
Awesome. What's up, John? Codes.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
that's your real
John.
name.
Yeah, John does content too. I know he's done some TikTok, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he has a YouTube channel as well.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
curious. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, man.
definitely no, you're good. I was gonna say that's definitely what I want to do more of. Like I have this Lumix G7 here,
Okay.
and just a little mirrorless
There we go.
DSLR.
Okay.
And I don't use it enough. I should probably like hook it up as my camera here, but I'm just using the Logitech Brio Pro. So
Okay.
I don't know. The thing with this is like you really need to learn your like if you get something like this, like you got to learn the ins and outs of this camera to be able to like use it well, right?
Yeah, it's not just
And
on off.
yeah, it's not just on off. There's a lot of things you got to set up and different
Yeah.
and it's different for every scene, every environment, every it's like it's kind of a pain, right? So unless you're like
Yeah.
Peter McKinnon and you're just like a genius at this stuff. But and so with the 15 Pro Max, you can do a lot of cinematic stuff now, right? With it. And
Okay.
some of these you see like a lot of these YouTubers like creating I've given up trying to figure out my A6000 Sony. Yeah, and don't use that outside for more than 30 minutes or less than that actually, because you'll overheat probably the A6000 at least, or the 6500. I think it had problems with overheating,
Okay.
didn't it? But anyway, John.
So if John doesn't show up to work one day, it's because his camera exploded outside.
It melted on him. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It burns. It burns.
It burns. But yeah, no, Sony they do make a great camera though, for sure.
Yeah.
But my point is that I'm not going to use a DSLR to create this content I'm talking about, right? I'm going to use my iPhone 15 because there's a lot of YouTubers out there. They've compared like it has overheated during a longer open source meeting.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
exactly. You know what I'm talking about. But they've compared it like a DSLR to, like an iPhone 15 shooting video, and you can make some amazing stuff and nobody's going to know the difference, right? Like it's just you that's
unless
going
you
to know.
tell them, I guess, but
right. Yeah, exactly. So I went ahead and I bought like this, I bought this, hold on, let me unlock it. There we go. This gimbal, right, for my phone. And so I'm going to create some super cool stuff with that, hopefully.
Okay, cool.
And yeah. So it'll be fun.
Yeah.
No, and I also bought like the Rode go-to wireless mics to hook up to my phone.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought up using the phone because, like I said, at some point I got the Blue Yeti because I just needed a better mic, but I wasn't about to blow hundreds of dollars on a mic based on the amount of content I do. But like, I can't remember. I think it was last fall or maybe end of summer last year. It's basically I always get like the whatever phones that my provider gives, and like I had an iPhone 8 for the longest time, and then they said, you can get an upgrade, and it was like an iPhone 13, and this was like the newest phone I've ever gotten. So I got it, and then I'm still streaming. And Ben Holmes was mentioning from Astro was mentioning this on Twitter yesterday, I think. But I was like, I have a Logitech webcam. It's okay. But all of a sudden I have this super powerful camera. Like, why don't I just use my iPhone for streaming, because like it's super high quality, and that's what I'm using right now, and I get 60 frames per second, and I still need to work on my lighting because I don't have professional lighting. Like if I turn, because when I have an office in my basement that I built out, and when I first built it, it never occurred to me that it'd be streaming or having like meetings,
Sure.
So I have normal lighting in here. It's pot lights, but if I turn them on, like
you're
gonna see, like if I turn this off for a sec, it's like the lighting is terrible. It's
I get it.
Like I
always leave the lights off in this room. Yep, same here.
Yeah. So
yep.
So basically, I was like, I got to get better lighting. And then what I did is, because I'm not breaking the bank right now, is I bought 2 ring lights off of Amazon. One's probably like 5-inch diameter. It's behind my laptop on the left here, and it gives light this way. And then I have another one which is clamped onto a cupboard I have beside my desk here, and it's just shining down. And that one was like $20. That was like $30, and it's not because I'm trying to be cheap. It's just I can't justify buying Elgato lights right now. Like again, maybe when I have like 10,000.
But you can control them with your Stream Deck.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I could probably definitely get some IoT light bulbs. That would be a pretty low cost. But
that's true.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
But it's just funny because like I definitely don't have the best streaming setup, but like people that know me, they're like, "Oh, you have a pretty good setup," and then like I explain, it's not as fancy as you think it is, you know. So like,
that's awesome. Though.
But
no, it's perfect.
One day.
I mean, like I have a vertical monitor on the left here, and then I have this 34, 30, 36, whatever it is, ultra wide right here in front of me, and then so I just use the light. I change whenever I do a stream. I change the background color of my desktop so that I get my lighting.
Oh, okay.
Those are my lights. Like, and it works. Like, you can notice the difference whenever, like, if you had an orangish kind of background, your face would be kind of orange. Like, and so it's kind of cool how much it works.
Yeah. And I could actually turn it on, but like, I've tried using my flash before. Like, if I use this software, like I know there's the I forget what that software for Mac now, where it's the continuity camera. But I'm using something called Camo, and it just allows me to do other things. But like,
you can turn the flash on where it's constantly on.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I tried it and it did get. The phone does get hot, but they said it's like totally okay. Like it can go for like 2 hours an iPhone like that, and it's totally fine. But but after a while, I was just like, I just don't. Like if I would look at the screen sometimes I would see, and I'd be pulling like a Donald Trump looking into the lunar to the solar eclipse kind of, so I just turned it off.
But that's the thing with a lot of those like production lights and stuff. They have like filters over them, right? Where you have a filter so it looks nice, right? Instead of just like a bright light on your face. So that's a whole nother game, man. It's like you've got game with your camera because you could do a billion things with that. You've got games, you got a game with your mic, you got the mic game. I mean, there's tons you could do with that. And then you've got like lighting, right? So sound, video, like audio, video, and then lighting. Like those. It
adds up. Like if you So
you could go so many different ways with it too. It's crazy. But
like no,
like those Elgato lights are nice though because they have like the filter already built in, kind of basically. You don't have to.
I've seen them. My old coworker Salma, who's streams quite a bit, she has those, and I think Jason Lexors has them too. But they're nice. It gives the light like you're saying, but it also dampens it. Like
right.
You don't get that effect of like when you turn a light bulb on. Yes, it's bright in the room, but if you look at it, you're like
yeah. Totally.
So, anyways, But that was a lot of talk about lights. All right.
Not your typical stream, Nick. You guys are used to digging into.
Oh no, it's all good. I'm enjoying myself because I am curious about a lot of this stuff. There's like, I've definitely automated as much as I can now. So like, I even have stuff like. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, man.
No, it's.
All no, I was just gonna say I have some scripts that run, so like it turns off, it puts my computer into do not disturb mode, so I don't get all these pop-ups and stuff, and stuff like that, and and it's kind of fun just messing around with the UI of the stream, which I'll probably do a bit more eventually, but that's all I was gonna say. But sorry, go ahead, man.
No, you're fine. I think that's absolutely great. I mean, like, the less you have to think about, the more creative you can be, I feel like sometimes too, So it's good. You're not like having to maintain the stream as much, right? Essentially. And so, yes, there is still some maintaining there and things you got to do and, the chat and whatever, but, moving poop and alpacas around and stuff. But
I am paying attention, even though I am moving poop on the screen.
Yes. Don't make me eat it. Jeez.
No, it's not that kind of. It's not that kind of stream. This is definitely not that kind of stream. No, we're not going to end up in some hot tub with weird stuff. No.
What? Hot tub emoji? Do they even have that?
No, it's just weird because somebody mentioned it the other day, but like when you log into Twitch, like you get recommended channels, and like I'm being honest, I don't watch those channels, and like, but they keep popping up as suggestions, and somebody mentioned it the other day too, and yeah, it's just like, and especially because like I'm streaming off my work computer right now, and it's like. Not that work is tracking what I'm watching on Twitch, I doubt, but like it's kind of like also like I don't, not that I'm a prude or anything, but like I don't need to see half naked women on my Twitch when I log in, when I'm on my work computer.
No, I agree.
Anyways,
100%. It would be nice if they would stop putting it in your face if you're not watching that stuff. Like, can they just can you opt out of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know why I went on that channel. Hey, Chrissy, I saw you pop in. I saw you pop in before. Sorry, I forgot to say hi. I do have a plan though with this poop emoji. I'm trying to get it in the middle of both of us at the screen. If you're wondering what I'm doing, so
no worries. I'm not wondering.
I do have a plan. It's going up. Anyways, okay, cool.
We're the shizness. Yeah.
So we've been talking like because a few people popped in. So we've been kind of talking about. We've been on a few tangents here, but we've been talking a lot about content creation. And hey, what's up, Pedars? Pedars is somebody I know as well, but the name is escaping me at the moment. But I see other people are assisting in the poop mission to get the poop up to the middle. So, anyways,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, Graham's got the poop heading to my face now. That's not good. But yeah, so we'll let the emojis do whatever they do. But yeah, we've been talking about content creation a lot, and also kind of like, yeah, I think the big lines are literally like we've said it a couple times, but for folks just joining, be consistent and just do something. It doesn't have to be like top tier professional made, like even blogging. Like I remember hey Pedars, I remember when I first started blogging, I just like my first blog post was terrible, but like tore off the band-aid and just started blogging and then blogging more, and it's like I don't blog as much as I stream right now, but I've been somewhat consistent with blogging, and now I've got like a ton of stuff that's been, on my site. And I mean, I put it on Dev2 and stuff too, but it's just putting in that effort to get something out there, I think is really what it comes down to.
Totally. Yes.
Oh, the poop everywhere command does not work. I can implement that for next stream. I'm not sure what that'll look like, but
litters the screen with poop.
Oh man, I've got another one for this. I think this one only works for subscribers. It works for me because I'm the admin, but there's a Canadian curling thing that happens. It's gonna show up in a second. It's gonna start saying sweep. I can't hear it, but people in the chat will probably be able to hear it. But anyways, all right, I got 2 minutes. This is the most emojis I've had moving on the screen, I think, in a long time. So good work.
We're just trying to keep people engaged here, because
yeah, exactly. We're
our tangents.
Yeah, we're clickbaiting with lobster and donuts
and poop.
But yeah,
yes,
yeah. But in terms of like we've been talking about content creation and like kind of building out your own brand a bit. Like I know you have a marketing background, and this is like something I'm way less familiar with. I just know like superficial stuff. Like if you were, I don't know how deep you want to get into this and like how much we can actually go into it, but like, like marketing for a company, like I'm giving a very vague question, like what, not vague, but like very, very broad, but like, I guess like what would you do like if you were to join a company? And for folks curious, I'm going to drop Scott's info. Scott was mentioning at the beginning of the stream. Thanks for sharing this, by the way. But Scott was furloughed. So looking for next interesting thing. including content creation that you're working on. But like if you were to go to a company right now and they said like we need to work on growth at the company, like what does that mean to you, or like how would you kind of approach that question? I guess I'm kind of simulating a interview here maybe, but
yeah, no worries. So I'm first of all, I want to say, I think I'm not necessarily looking to after I've already had a couple interviews actually at some places.
oh, okay.
But I don't know that I'm looking to actually get started with another company right now. We'll see.
Okay. Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
What happens with that? I'm not like hard pressed to get another thing right now. I was at first. I was like, oh, I need to get a job now. Like right away, something. But I'm like, you know what? No, I think I'll be all right. But I think it's opened doors for me to do other things, like start creating some content and doing some things where maybe I focus on my own brand, like you were saying. And so, with that being said, but I do want to answer your question a little bit. I'm not trying to avoid it. As far as like, what would I do, with, if a company wants some help, with marketing or growth or whatever. And I think, those are one and the same, but they're also very different at the same time. Like growth is more sales focused, end result. Marketing, yes, obviously they're focused on a ROI, return on their investment, time, money, effort, whatever. But it's not necessarily as focused on growth. However, they go hand in hand. And so I would say it all depends on the problem that the company's having in that moment.
I gave you a very broad question, so it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, it depends on what they're trying to accomplish, what their goal is, and then the problem that they're having, and then we come up with a creative solution for that. Obviously, whether that be, I don't know. When I had an agency for a little bit, and I didn't necessarily work for like larger companies when I had that, but I had some clients that had smaller businesses, but it was like online based stuff, and they had like there were published authors and stuff like that I was working with, and they're like they were creating courses for people to purchase, which a lot of devs do as well, and so I helped them to market their products and services and sell them, through all kinds of means, which and creating those courses in the process as well, helped them with that too. But and even helped self-publish some books and stuff. But that was like the whole funnel, right? The whole process from the top down to the purchase, down to the after, and the continuation of that whole process. So really the whole business, from perspective. So and I feel like if you're marketing is really just telling a good story, right? If you can tell a good story, which is why I talk about like learning your voice, right? And things like that. If you can tell a good story, then you can sell something essentially, right? Because it's all about being relatable. It's all about being authentic in that process, and delivering value depending on what value the person's looking for, right? So yeah, and so what they're labeling that as. But I think more than anything, people want results, right? And not just like the company as hiring someone to do these things for them. I'm talking about the person who's buying, the end consumer, the company, the user, the customer of that product or service. They want a result. That's why they're using your product or service, right? Like you're using this platform right now because you wanted to be able to stream in this particular way and do certain things. And it had those key features and points that you wanted, and that was the value for you. And maybe it was a cost savings, or maybe it costed more and you were willing to pay more because of that, or I don't know what it was, but either way, like those are the things that you need to therefore highlight. And so I help people to highlight the things that they can really make a difference for people on, and help them to turn that into a story, whether that's
Okay.
through like a webinar or a landing page, lead magnet, funnels, all these different things that we could do with it. I would create several different types of ways to bring traffic through and help people to understand the product and service, and not just understand it, but see the value in it for them and say,
Okay.
well, yeah, why wouldn't I want to do this? And make it an offer that nobody can say no to. In fact, actually, I didn't know if I was going to bring this up or not, but hold on one second.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go.
Grab these books here. So I don't know if anybody here is into wanting to start their own product or service, or they are a business that has their own product or service, and they want to learn how to better create a better offer for that, right? Something that people are going to say, oh my gosh, like, why wouldn't I do this? It'd be stupid
Hmm.
not to. Then this is a great book called $100 Million Offers by Alex
Okay.
Hermosi.
Okay.
I know him. He actually owns acquisition.com, and he acquires companies and helps companies that have like 10 million plus in EBITDA, I think, to grow
Okay.
to 50, 100 million and more. And he has a pretty big portfolio right now and does several
Okay.
hundred million a year in revenue. But actually, I know him from when I used to work at ClickFunnels, which is a
Okay.
software company, and I did marketing with them. Actually, I was a coach, and I would coach other entrepreneurs and business owners on how to better market their products, market and sell their
Oh,
products and
cool.
services online. And actually, I've coached like hundreds of people doing that, utilizing our software, obviously too, which was a landing page builder, drag and drop, basically.
Okay.
So it's not very like developer friendly. However, there's like, you can put custom CSS in there, you can put custom JavaScript in there, you can do all kinds of stuff with it to customize it, which is pretty cool. And it's a very amazing solution that has a lot of things in it. So I may be a little biased because I used to work for them for like 3 years, but I do love the
Yeah. Yeah.
product.
Yeah.
I still have it. My website right now is made with it just because it's so simple. I don't have to do anything else. So,
Yeah.
and
Well,
anyway,
that's a testament to the product. If you're like you don't even work there anymore, and you're still a
yeah,
fan of it. So
yeah, I haven't worked there since 2019. So, and I still love their products, and they have some amazing
well,
books too. Like, if you go to if you go to um, um, s- uh,
you can make.
.com, so DOT's
Okay.
secrets.com, or
Okay.
expertsecrets.com. There's a whole series of books that Russell Brunson, the owner and creator of ClickFunnels, created and wrote to help
Okay.
people. And they're usually like free. You just got to pay for shipping. It's like $6 or $7. So
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
maybe they make a buck or two, but it's like not really.
That's
No.
not so much the goal. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
No, yeah. The goal is like get someone to read this stuff and understand it and learn it, and then utilize your software because they see that you are the way to make this happen, right? Like
Yeah.
and that's the other thing. See, that's how this is the beautiful thing, man. This is when you talk about marketing, like Russell Brunson is a freaking marketing guru. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
When you're able to grow a company with zero VC backing, from zero to hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue in 3 years, like that's phenomenal. You're a freaking guru when it comes to marketing. There was a little PLG in there, product led growth. However, a lot of it was from his marketing. I remember the thing that got me to use ClickFunnels because I was selling some stuff online, and this was
Okay.
back in 2016, 15. And I was like selling some stuff online, and I wanted to like use a different platform because I was sick of like piecing all the things together, right? I feel like I'm just like pitching ClickFunnels right now, but it's so funny because it's just true. It's just my story, right? So this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
No, but gotta say, like, it's still pretty amazing. You haven't been there for 3 years, and
yeah,
like you still love the product. Like that's they did
yeah.
something right. You're not like some disgruntled employee.
No, yeah, I
So
still talk to my boss, like my ex boss. Like
okay.
he's in Canada, by the way, in BC.
Oh,
But
I must know him. I must know him then, because
yeah, you totally must know him.
Peter and your boss.
Peter
So
and my boss. Yeah, Vince. Absolutely. I know you know Vince. Come on. Uh, anyway, so um, So yeah, I think it's an amazing product, and just I know I was kind of talking about how the journey of it all for me, but I'm not going to get too much more into it. But anyway, if you want to check it out, you can go to clickfunnels.com, and if you want to also go to check out the books, I would read the books, because the books are freaking so valuable. You're going to learn so much from it.
Okay.
Even if you're working in a company and not trying to start your own business, like, you can do amazing things for your company with the knowledge in those books. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. And so anyway, here's another one for you. This is Alex Hormozy, though. The reason
Okay.
why I know him is because at ClickFunnels, he used to use ClickFunnels software to promote
Okay.
his stuff that he was doing. And he sold
I don't know
uh,
what.
tens of millions of dollars through ClickFunnels software. And there's tons of stories like that, by the way. ClickFunnels has something called Funnel Hacking Live. They do it every year. It's a huge event that
Okay.
sells out 5,000 plus people. They just had one a couple months ago down in Florida. Anyway, and they have people come across the stage, and they've gamified this process where you get a 2 Comma Club award. There's called these awards, and one of them's the 2 Comma Club, and basically
Okay.
it's like a platinum record, basically, looking kind of thing. And if you've sold over $1 million in a funnel, you get one of these rewards and awards, and you
Okay.
get it on stage. So and it goes up for higher than that. There's like 2 Comma Club X, which is like 10 million plus, and all that. So
Okay.
it's pretty cool. But anyway, he did really well and has done really well with ClickFunnels. And now he used to do this whole gym thing. It's called Gym Launch, and he helped gym owners launch and like freaking scale the crud out of their gym memberships by hundreds of
Okay.
thousands of dollars a year. He can increase them, like, with just some changes and using funnel systems and other things like that. But anyway, so he made this book, and Russell Brunson, you can see here, said, "Dude, this book is so good." CEO of ClickFunnels. Anyway, and he wrote this $100 million offers, and then he just launched this a couple, like 2 months ago, $100 million leads. This is how to get strangers to want to buy your stuff. but
Okay.
um but this is really good, and this is all since he's had that acquisition.com company. And so
Okay.
there's a lot more experience in this book than this one, but they're both really
Okay.
good. And so I would always say start with the offer, and then you get the leads in, and you can start piping stuff through
Yeah.
for your business, or the company you're working for. Because as a developer, as a DevRel, if you're in the
Yeah.
DevRel space, you're marketing, essentially, right? You're marketing the product and service to developers, and you can use these strategies, these methodologies,
Mm-hmm.
for being genuine still and authentic, but helping to you know to deliver more. It's easier when you're in a
Yeah.
smaller company to make these changes happen. It's harder in a bigger company because there's so much red tape and legal stuff and all that and whatever. But um, you can still make a difference.
Yeah. I guess
Or launch your own thing.
that was gonna be my question. Like you can still be genuine.
Yeah,
They seem kind of at odds, marketing but still being genuine, or at least I know they aren't necessarily, but like I don't know, like I definitely don't consider myself a salesperson, and I have friends that are salespeople, and like they could, it's like they're really good at what they do. Like I know
yeah,
when, like, if I go out with them and like say we're at a restaurant, he's like, yeah, just throw in 2 other beers or do this sound good, yeah, and they're like, sure, it's like, and I'm like, how did you just do that, um but I guess you can still be genuine, and you're not pulling the wool over people's eyes. You're just, the funnel
no,
is just the way to get them in, but you're still trying to genuinely, well, hopefully, genuinely want them to use your product because you think
yeah.
it has value.
Well, that's
Like
the
I,
other thing I was
yeah,
talking about earlier. Is like it's about getting the person who's using your product or service, getting them the results that they want, right?
yeah,
And more, right? Like, over deliver. That's one thing
yeah,
Russell was always like, "Are we over delivering? Because I think we're over. Let's over deliver more. Here's some more. Right? Here's some more. Here's some more. Right?
okay,
Like, constantly do that, and develop an offer that's so irresistible that people would be like, no, like, why wouldn't I take you up on this offer? This is so stupid of me not to. So you're not
yeah,
like trying to convince them of anything, because you can't convince anybody of anything. In fact, all you're
Yeah.
doing is helping them to understand what you have, understand what it can do for them, and then make an offer that's so dang good that they're like, I'm not going to pass this up. I'm going to give this a shot. And then
Yeah.
if your product or service is going to do what it says it's going to do, and it delivers on the value that you said you're going to deliver on, and that's what their expectations are,
Yeah.
and you meet and exceed those expectations, then they're going to be a customer and they're going to continue to use your stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
So kind of
that's
win-win in that respect. Like obviously, obviously to be super blunt, obviously a business still needs to make money. Like
yeah,
that's the goal
totally.
of the business. But that's awesome if you can actually provide value to somebody and
Yeah,
not just like be a snake oil salesman or
yeah,
whatever the term is.
exactly. And it's all about telling a story, right? Like if you can tell a story in a way that shows them the value and shows them the offer, and helps deliver that value through your messaging, then
Yeah.
that's exactly what you're trying to do. Like you said, not snake oilsy, like you're
Yeah.
not, or used car salesman or something, or whatever
Yeah,
people
yeah,
say,
or whatever it
like,
is. Yeah, the
yeah,
stereotypical,
yeah.
bad
And I used to
movie
sell some
salesman kind
some
of thing.
cars, so
Okay.
back in like 08, 09. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool, cool.
Anyway, yeah.
Awesome. Well, listen, we're almost at time. We got like about 4 minutes left here. I can't believe the time's flown by this fast already.
Yeah.
I think when I started the stream today, I was like, maybe we'll go for an hour because like it's not content I usually talk about, so like I'm less familiar, but
Yeah.
definitely had a lot of chatter going on, and especially not just the emojis moving around, but there was a lot of chatter in the chat. There's
I'm surrounded
definitely
by donuts, poop, and lobster, so
yeah, there you
I'm
go.
a trio.
That's a good way to end it. But yeah, no, there's a few DevRels in the chat, and just I think it's valuable. I know for me, like even though I'm in engineering, I do want to understand a business better, and it's something I haven't always understood where I've worked.
Yeah,
And to your point about like it doesn't mean I have to be the salesperson or whatever, but
yeah,
like if I understand more about the business, I can, well, one, it also helps steer like where the product goes for sure. Like that
totally.
like that I get, like we have metrics and stuff, like okay,
Yep.
well we got to focus on this because like 10,000 people went to that page, so versus
Yeah,
this other one that's getting like 1,000, like that stuff
absolutely.
I get. But yeah, just kind of I just personally want to get better at understanding a business, and like now that I'm at open source, I really do want to understand the business well. And
Yeah,
I've mentioned it to Brian, who started the company, and I think it'll take a bit of time to, because it's not my specialty, obviously,
sure.
but I definitely see it helping me as an engineer to help make the company better.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
so definitely appreciate all the insights you've been given here.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I don't know if I need any golden nuggets, but like, I hope I just made people. If anything, I hope I just made people more interested in these different areas that are not necessarily, you know, per se a developer mindset,
yeah,
and maybe widen your mindset to looking at these different things differently, and maybe even helping you to expand your role, or not necessarily expand it, but help what you're trying to do
yeah.
with the company that you're at, and even maybe a side thing you're trying to accomplish. So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, this has been super awesome. We got like a minute left, I think,
Yeah,
here.
we do.
It's been super awesome, Scott. Thanks so much for
Yep.
joining me today.
Thank you.
Um, Best of luck on what you're going to be working on next. I know you, like you
Yeah.
said, you're going to dig into some content creation for now, and then
Yeah,
maybe
we'll
consider
see what
other
happens.
offers eventually. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's been super fun. I mean, we talk anyway, so I'll definitely be talking to you again.
totally.
I dropped the schedule next week. Todd, Mr. Lobster, is going to be hanging with me.
Woo!
We're gonna be hunting for accessibility bugs in the open source app.
Don't miss it.
So that'll be a fun one. I think there's gonna be a lot of low hanging fruit in there. I'm only just started my second month there, so looking for. I've been fixing some things in there, but just trying to just want to make the site, the application as accessible as possible. So not Scott, Todd's gonna give us.
I could try.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I'm gonna hang out with Todd, and we're gonna go accessibility bug hunting. So
Awesome.
check that out next week. And aside from that, thanks everybody for the chat today. Great chatter. Scott, if you don't mind staying on for just a second, and everybody else, I'll see you next week. Oh, I will mention Wednesday. I haven't tweeted it out yet, but I'm gonna be hanging with my coworker Becca. We're gonna be doing the last Hacktoberfest check-in on Wednesday at 4 p.m. UTC. I'll be dropping that on social. So,
awesome.
with that, folks, see you next week.
See you.